David here with Figboot on pens, back again with another fountain pen review, as well as a giveaway. What I have for you today is a release from Opus 88 in their Koloro line, and this model is called Pink and White. What I am going to do today is go over the parts and features of this colorful and sparkly pen, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about it. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Smruti Pens for providing this pen for review and to give away to one of you. Make sure you stay tuned to later in this review in order to see what you need to do in order for a chance to make this pen your very own. In regard to Smruti Pens, the last Opus 88 pen I reviewed was provided by them as well. They are a fairly new retailer based out of Mount Juliet, Tennessee, which is just outside of Nashville. The woman behind the company is Akela Sheth. Here she is with her husband Nirmal. Smruti is a Sanskrit word meaning memory or remembrance. In 2022, Akela decided to turn her passion for pens into a business, and from talking with them at shows, so far things have been going well for them. Let's go ahead and take a look at what I feel is an interesting pen. It arrives in this box, which has a magnetic closure on the front which flips open. Inside, we have a few things. There are some instructions which show you how to fill up this pen, which is helpful since the filling system is a bit different than some folks might be used to. They also in here include a glass eyedropper, which is nice. And then it's a little hard to see here, but there is also an extra O-ring in here as well, which is nice. This pen is part of a series of 3. There is the pink and white. There is then a blue and white. And finally, there is the gold and white. And the model I have to share with you and give away today, as I mentioned previously, is the pink and white. The previous Koloro model I reviewed a couple of years ago was one made with ebonite. On this model, those ebonite parts are replaced with an opaque white resin, and it's accented with a nice translucent and sparkly pink resin. This material provides a bit of color and personality without having too much over-the-top flair. There are some areas that have a lesser amount of sparkle, and then as I turn this around, you can kind of see that there's also those bands of more concentrated shimmer as well. I kind of like that it provides different looks as you spin this around. It makes the material come to life a little bit more. Koloro is the word for color in Esperanto. Esperanto is what's called a constructed language, created about 130 years ago. Constructed meaning that it was created by someone rather than evolving over time. The purpose of the language was to have a language that was flexible and easy to learn, and it would be used as a second language for people, kind of more of an international language, if you will, for people to use so that the world could better communicate with each other. While the wide use of Esperanto really never took off, there are a couple of million people in the world who speak the language. Back in 1966, the actor William Shatner actually starred in a movie called Incubus, which had everyone speaking Esperanto. Okay, that is enough of an etymology lesson for today. Let's take a closer look at this pen. The end of the cap is slightly rounded. This transitions into a thin clip band and the clip itself. It has a small beaded pattern down each side that gives it a bit more of a non-traditional look. It does work well, and it is flexible enough to accommodate materials of varying thicknesses. The cap angles up a bit, and then it transitions into an inch or so of the pink shimmery resin. It's on the opaque side of translucency, so you can see a bit of shadow of the nib, but not much else. I will say the transitions between the materials here is very smooth. I can barely feel it, which is a good indication of a quality and precision build. The cap continues up at an angle until about this point where it begins to taper down slightly. At the end of the cap, it has the company name. It looks clear enough in this close-up picture, but with the naked eye, I will say that the yellow text on the white resin for me is a bit hard to read. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Padres City Connect jerseys. These are special uniforms the teams wear on Friday nights when they play at home. In this picture, the yellow nameplate doesn't look that bad, but during an actual game, when you are looking at the jerseys from a distance, I find it impossible to distinguish the letters. You kind of need to have some, slight outline around the letters to make them more visible, in my opinion. I love those jerseys, but that's my only real complaint about them. The transition from the cap to the barrel is fairly small and rounded. And then we have the barrel, which tapers down until you reach this silver band indicating the beginning of the filling mechanism, and the end of the barrel comes to a very slight rounded point. The cap unscrews with 2.5 rotations to reveal this number 5 Yovo nib. It's available in extra fine, fine, medium, and broad. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section is a bit on the thinner side. It begins with a small flare and then angles up until you reach the threads and a small step up to the remainder of the barrel. When I grip this pen, I do find myself resting on the threads a bit, so I feel it's good that I don't feel that they're sharp or uncomfortable. I also like that the section is the pink. I think that looks nicer than if it were the white. The pen does feel very comfortable in the hand and well balanced. It's plenty long enough for me to use unposted. The cap does post, and it's light enough that I don't feel it backweights the pen or throws off the balance at all. Okay, let's get to this filling system. It is a traditional Japanese style eyedropper. In order to fill the pen, you actually unscrew the section, and then you use the included eyedropper to fill up the barrel with ink. If you take a look in the barrel, you can see the end of the piston. When it is twisted down, it prevents the ink from the barrel from entering the forward chamber. Now, if you are careful, you can certainly fill the pen when this piston is in this position, but it's a bit easier if you twist the end and extend it a bit, moving that piston back out of the way, which gives you a bit more of an opening to work with. And then you put the section back on and close up the piston, and you are good to go. Now, you will need to remember to have that nib facing down when you seal off the 2 chambers, or else if you have it up, all of the ink is going to flow out of the section and there won't be any ink in the section, which is kind of important. When you run out of ink in the section, you can simply crack the seal to let some ink flow between the chambers and then twist it shut, and you're good to go again. It's an interesting system. Would I like it in all my pens? No, but it's nice to have a variety. It's the same system which is in the Namiki Emperor as well as several other pens. The Opus 88 Pink and White, as well as the other colors in this series, are available on the Smruti Pens website. I will put a link to it in the notes below. The pen retails for $93, which I feel is reasonable for what you receive here. It has some nice looks. I like the looks of the material, and for under $100, it's a decent offering. Okay, in regard to the giveaway, I thought I would do something a little different. In the past, I have had contests where you write me a letter, but for this go-around, I thought it might be fun if you wrote a letter to someone else. Not someone in the pen community or a pen pal, someone who wouldn't be expecting a letter from you. Letter writing is such a lost form of communication nowadays. If someone received a letter from you, it would probably really be special to them and make their day. So this is what you need to do in order to enter. Sometime within the next 7 days after this video posts, you need to write a physical letter to someone. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take a picture of the addressed envelope before you drop it in the mail, and then you're going to email that picture to my email address, figbootonpens@gmail.com. You can see it again in the notes below. After the end of a week, I will randomly select a winner from those who submitted proof of their letter. I will reply to the winner via your email address you used to submit the entry, and I'll already have your address from the picture you submitted. And rest assured, I'll not be collecting any data regarding anyone that you send a letter to. I don't care about that. And I only want the envelope, not the letter itself. We don't care about that. Once the contest is over, all of the submissions will be deleted. For the selected winner, you will receive this very pen, and for everyone else, you will still be winners because you will have given someone in your life a pretty cool surprise. So everyone will be a winner. Thanks again go out to Smruti Pens for providing this pen for review and to give away. Now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Opus 88 Koloro, and this is the pink and white. Just wanted to give you another look at that material. You can see here how there's certain aspects of it that are a little bit more condensed than the others, which kind of give it a nice, unique look. And the same effect is apparent here on the cap portion as well. Now I'll show you how to ink this up here in a second, but in regard to some size comparisons, let's look at it with a couple of other Opus 88 pens. Here is that other Koloro, which is the ebonite version. And then I have a couple of their demonstrators. That is the white and black one. And then this one is this nice green and white and black that was an exclusive through Stilo and Stile. Then in regard to some non-Opus 88 pens, here it is with a Lamy All-Star and a Pilot Metro, as well as a TWSBI Go. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here it is with that TWSBI Go and the Pilot Metro, and then finally the Lamy All-Star. Let's go ahead and ink this pen up. We're going to take off the cap, and then you can see here there is the piston that's inside. You can leave it where you want, or leave it there, or you can pull it back just a little bit to give yourself a little bit more room. In regard to an ink, one of my favorite kind of pinkish, orangish reds, which is Monteverde's Strawberry Shortcake. So I thought that would look nice coming out of this pen. So you use the included eyedropper, and then all you do is suck up a little bit of ink, which is taking a little bit here, and then simply release it into the barrel. Put just a little bit more in there. I try to not get it on the threads, just because then when you seal the threads, then it just gets a little bit messy in there. So let me go ahead and just clean this a little bit, just to make cleaning this a little bit easier when I'm done. Now you can see that we're a little bit off of those threads now. And so then we go ahead and attach this back here. Let me get the ink out of the way. And as I mentioned in the review, you don't want to seal it with it facing up, or else there's not going to be any ink here in the section. So you want to do it with the nib facing down, and then once you twist that down, it is sealed off between those portions. Okay, I waited just a minute to let the ink flow into the nib, so now we are good to go. So in regard to the writing sample, here we have the Opus 88 Koloro. This is a broad stainless steel nib, and the ink, as I showed you earlier, is Monteverde. And this is Strawberry Shortcake. This is what the ink looks like. It's a nice vibrant kind of red on the oranges, or on the orangish side of red. This is what it looks like with Diamine Poppy Red, which is another vibrant red. And then here's one with a bit more shading to it, which is the Anderillium Vampire Squid Red. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. This nib does have a little bit of feedback to it. I do find it's a little bit on the bouncy side. You can get a little bit of line variation out of here. In regard to ink flow, I think for a broad nib, it's decent. And in regard to a reverse writing sample, it's a little bit spotty. But then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up well. So there we have the Opus 88 Koloro Pink and White. I think it's a decent offering for the price. Make sure that you go ahead and write your letter to the person of your choosing, and then don't forget to take the picture of that letter, just the envelope, not the letter itself, and email that to me at figbootonpens@gmail.com. And like I mentioned before, 1 week after the posting of this video, then I'll go ahead and select a winner to receive this actual pen. Thanks again go out to Smruti Pens for providing this pen on loan for review and for giveaway. And until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.